Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and we are here with one of these diamonds in the rough. His name is Fred Payton. He's a quarterback out of Mercer. Nice to have you with me, sir.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Jimmy.
I don't know too much of your story, but do know a little bit of your story. You were at Coastal Carolina. You transferred to Mercer, doing a pretty good job overall there at Mercer. Ended up recently winning the MVP trophy at the FCS Bowl. But we'll try our best to talk through a little bit of all of that. Why don't you set the stage there at the beginning? Tell me where you're from and walk me through some of this journey, if you don't mind.
So I was born in New Orleans, actually, and lived there up until the hurricane happened. Ended up moving to Georgia, around the Gwinnett County area, Lilburn, Georgia, when I was really young, about 5 years old. And since then, that's when the journey kind of got started, playing Little League up and through all there. Started my high school career at Peachtree Ridge High School for the first 3 years, and then finished my final year, my senior year at Parkview High School back in Lilburn, Georgia. So kind of started where I finished there, finished where I started there, actually. And out of high school, ended up at Coastal Carolina, spent my first 3 years there, and enjoyed my time and things of that nature. Learned a lot about the game of football and different aspects of the game, as it was a different offense. And then, like I said, I ended up at Mercer, leaving from there, and now I'm where I'm at.
Gotcha. So let's backtrack just a little bit to your time in high school. I know from talking to you previously that you participated in some other sports.
Yes,
Can you chat with me about that real quick?
Yes, sir. I played basketball my freshman year through my junior year in high school, and even on from started basketball back in sixth grade. So I started playing football first, but ended up playing basketball as well. Took a lot of aspects and traits from both sports, and that's what I liked about being a dual sport athlete. I was able to take some things from football, use it in basketball, take some things from basketball, and use it in football. But yeah, I enjoyed my time being a dual sport athlete.
So you a big basketball fan? Was that something that maybe you aspired to be when you're like a little kid or something, or what?
Yeah, I always say my passion was football first because, I started that when I was 7 years old, and I didn't really get into basketball big until I got into my sixth grade when my best friend, he wanted me to come to a basketball tryout with him, and I was just there to support him. But his coaches seen me on the side as well and was like, young man, are you trying out? And I was like, no, sir, I'm just here to watch and support. And he was like, well, you're here. Might as well not waste your time. So I got on there, and it was just supposed to be fun. Like, I was just there, and within the tryout, just having fun, not really there to try out. Next thing you know, my parents get a call, and they were like, you end up trying out? And I was like, I didn't even think I was there for a tryout, but I guess so. And that's how my basketball career got started. But it definitely almost turned into something serious throughout my high school career. I was at a school that was pretty big for basketball. One of my best friends actually is in the NBA right now, and a lot of those other players are overseas and, having successful careers in that as well. And that's how I got my shots at basketball. I had a few offers in basketball as well, but my passion was football, so I stuck with that route.
Gotcha. So obviously, you said once again that you stuck with football.
Yeah.
What is it about the game of football, man? I mean, what draws you to football? Why do you love this sport so much?
I really would say it's the position that I play. I love the sport in general, just flying around. It's not every day you get to fly around and either try to hit somebody or avoid being hit. And particularly with the position to just spread the wealth necessarily. When you're having success, that means other people are having success. So it's fun to see everybody having that type of fun. But my father, he put the football in my hand at such a young age. He played football growing up. He was on the other side of the ball. He was a defensive back. He was a strong safety and things of that nature. But, growing up, he seen that special arm talent, so to speak. He always called me a gunslinger and that things of that nature. People always used to get on his head because when I was young, back when I was 10 years old, he put me in a spread offense. He was my coach. He put me in a spread offense at just the
Right.
age of 10. And back then, spread was not a big thing, especially in college football. I think Alabama was still running that powerhouse, I formation type of deal. And then you see where the game of football has kind of progressed too. People were slinging it all over the place. So kind of paid dividends in hindsight.
Yeah, it definitely opened up a little bit. But like you said, I mean, you started there at Coastal.
Yeah.
You moved to Mercer. You've been a part of a couple different offenses. Let's backtrack a little bit, man, about these two different universities that you've been a part of. Can you share with me some highlights about those universities, like strictly as a student, if you don't mind?
Strictly as a student. Two different, totally different dynamics. If you ask me, at Coastal, definitely still about their business, but very much more casual. I would say school is kind of second, if you would say so, at that school. But here at Mercer, it's definitely school first. It's one of the top programs and universities, not only within the state, but across the nation. It has a top law program, medicine, and things of that nature. So two totally different dynamics as a student. Mercer is definitely going to prepare me for the real world, kind of better than Coastal probably did. But I'm glad to have got the experience at both universities.
Sure. Well, I mean, Coastal in its own right. I mean, they have built themselves up to a really good respectable school there in the Sun Belt Conference.
Right.
I know you were kind of a part of that ride.
Yeah.
And then I know at one point or another you went down with an injury or something, and that I don't know if that kind of led you to the transfer or whatever. I don't know what the whole situation was there. Can you enlighten me
Right.
just a tad?
Yeah. So, I started off at the Coast, and my freshman year, I came in, I was part of like a 7-man roster. And, coming as a freshman in the summer, especially not even being able to be a mid-year like I was supposed to. But so my main goal was to, try to secure at least the second string job and see where things went from there. And I accomplished that goal my freshman year. And then I ended up getting to start the last half of the season with an injury to the number one guy, our redshirt senior, and took advantage of it. I would say, it was definitely a learning curve, but got in there, got to make some plays and things like that. So carrying on into the next year, my sophomore year, was in a position battle again and ended up winning that one out. And going into the season, didn't start off how we wanted to, did well, but didn't come out with, a W to start the season off and things like that. And around the middle of the year, ended up getting an injury to my little AC joint. And the coaches kind of saw best fit they wanted me to be 100% while I was out there. So they kind of held me back for a week or two. And then we let somebody else play and trying to work my way back into it, which I did. Didn't work my way back up to starting, but definitely played throughout the rest of that year. And then following that, I was in another position battle my junior year, and that was actually the COVID year in 2020, and was in another position battle, and ended up being like winning it. But 2 weeks out, I ended up tweaking my ankle, and they kind of it's just little things that
Mhm.
will hold you back, man. So ended up tweaking my ankle, and to start the season, they went off with Grayson McCall. I'm sure know that name. So
Sure.
he had his success and definitely took advantage of his opportunity. So kudos to him for that. And they kind of wanted to just go ahead and ride that wave, and we see what he's done. So that I would say that kind of led to it. So
And
that's
then, of
how.
course, Mercer's a little close to home. I mean, was that kind of
Right.
part of the whole like idea of you, like, moving on to Mercer? Like, is that the reason why you chose Mercer?
It's actually crazy. So I knew about Mercer, and I actually had been to Mercer once before in my lifetime for a mega camp in high school when there's like 20, 40 colleges out there. But other than that, that's all I really had known about them. They did extend me an offer in high school as well. I had an offer, but I had a couple other bigger offers that were really heavy
Sure.
on me, so I didn't really take them too much serious. But once I hit the portal, Coach Cronic, my head coach here now, he was blowing my phone up from I think the time I walked out of that office. So he just showed me lots of love, and even amongst all the other opportunities that I had coming out of the portal, just the love from there, like you said, being closer to home and like you said, that finishing where I started kind of deal. It all felt right, and I just wanted to be able to get somewhere that was going to give me a real opportunity, knowing that it's a ticking time clock. You only had so much time left, so I needed to go somewhere that was going to give me a significant and real opportunity to showcase my abilities and try to lead people to a championship. So.
Yeah, and for the most part, I think you've done a quality job of leading that program to a lot of wins. Again, like I said, different scenario, different offense. Been at Mercer for a little bit there. Can you kind of talk about that offense overall? Like, how would you describe their offense and how they're set up and how they maybe execute plays?
Definitely would be considered unorthodox in today's day and age. When I first got here, it was really strictly a wing T offense, and since I've been here, that's one of the things. Yeah, that's what I say all the time. Who would have thought that I ended up somewhere that based out of a wing T? But that's kind of the telltale story of my career. Like I said, my dad started me off in the spread. I've known that my whole life. I get the coastal there, a spread option, so to speak, running the option for the most part, but being able to run RPOs and play action pass off of that. And so, and then now coming to Mercer where I'm out of a wing T offense, but that was kind of Coach Cronick's vision, even though we were in a wing T. I can remember so vividly our first conversation, him saying, asking me what I thought about coming to Mercer. And I was like, I want to do my own homework and, I'm trying to end up somewhere that I feel suits my capabilities and my strengths. And he was like, well, I don't want you to go watching the film of us on your own. And, seeing us in the wing T and being like, nah, that ain't the place for me. He wanted to show me where I could fit into his offense and how he seen me helping him grow the offense and his vision for the future and where this program could go. So we sat down on the Zoom and I met with all the coaches and everything. And for about an hour after everybody else got off, him and I stayed on and we were watching film and he was showing me film of his offense out of the wing T where he would develop it, into a RPO, spread offense. Like now it's not just a wing T, it's pro style, it's spread, it's option. Like there's everything that you can imagine within the offense. So I feel like I've definitely grown as a quarterback as a whole with just everything that I've experienced and the different styles of offense that I've been in.
Interesting. So I've been a part of a lot of different schemes. So obviously sky's the limit. I mean, if you're able to learn a whole bunch of different schemes, who knows? I mean, having that that kind of in your arsenal, the fact that you've learned that, it really helps, I think.
Yes, sir.
Talk real quick about some of the most impressive teammates you've had over the years. I mean, maybe a guy from both universities that has really impressed you the most over your collegiate experience.
Yeah, that's definitely tough. I've been around so many great guys within both universities that you can see Coastal how many guys they had in the league from our class and just the year before and the team that I've been a part of. But if I had to choose one from over there, I had to go with my guy CJ Marable. He played running back, and as you can tell, we probably grew to have a great relationship still. I actually just talked to him about 2 days ago, and just that relationship that we developed in that backfield. And he always kept me going no matter what. He was impressive on the field, but just more impressive off the way he was able to motivate me without even knowing. And every time he would go to the field, he would hit me up, ask me if I wanted to go to the field, and that carried over. So the work ethic that I watched him having himself, and I know that I have in me, we kind of grew together in that aspect. And he was just so impressive with that, the way he's able to keep his head down and always work. And he's successful in his life because of that. And over here, I would have to say Isaac Dowling. It's crazy to go from an offense to a defensive guy, but he's our middle linebacker, Isaac Dowling. I don't want to say his class wrong. I think he's a sophomore, to be honest with you. But I've never seen anybody prepare the way that he does. Watching film and things of that nature, it motivates you. I'm the quarterback of the offense, and he's technically the quarterback of the defense. So to watch film and know how you're going to prepare and put your team in the best position possible week in and week out, because like I said, your success dwindles down to theirs as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, having a guy who's pushing himself, definitely there's a little bit of competition there. It's like, if he's pushing himself to the limit, I got to do the same. And so if he's in the film room for X amount of hours, I got to do the same, if not more. So I mean, yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, it's nice to have a teammate to help push you, more and more. Shout out to CJ. Know CJ very well, so he's doing some good things right now.
Mm.
So cool dude. So
Yes, sir.
um so when we look at you as a quarterback, when we look at you as a prospect at the next level, how would you describe yourself? I mean, can you maybe give me, I don't know, maybe an example at the next level, maybe somebody that you model yourself after? I mean, I'm just trying to feed you some sort of information so that you can uh, give me some insight as to who this Fred Payton is as a quarterback.
Right. Um, that's interesting that you asked that. I would currently, I would definitely wouldn't mind comparing myself to Geno Smith and his story and the things that he's gone through in his life to overcome and things of that nature, and to the success that he's having now, that paying dividends to the type of person that he is. Um, Speaking on how my dad had me in a spread since I was young. When I was young, I didn't have much success as a whole. I grew up in an area with a team, probably had about 11, 12 players on the team on the roster at a time. So we didn't experience a lot of wins, so to speak, but there's a lot of lessons learned, a lot of growth as a player for myself, growing up as a kid through Little League. And when I reached a point where I was about to go to high school, my the school that I was supposed to feed into is a school that my mom actually taught at. And their high school coach said, there's no place for you here, man. Your talent and your the path that you're on, you need to go somewhere that would really help you project your career and get you somewhere that you can earn opportunity and things of that nature. So that's how I ended up at Peachtree Ridge. I was destined to go to Meadow Creek or Berkmar for that nature, and I ended up at Peachtree Ridge. But as far as my play style, I definitely feel like I'm very versatile. Speaking of how we just been in so many different offenses, um, growing up in the spread, I've learned how to read coverages pretty well since a young kid. Then when I got to Coastal, with it being a option portion of the offense being very vital, I learned how to read, fronts and linebacker level and safety levels and things like that. That really helped me being able to expand my knowledge of football as well. And then just being in this offense, as far as footwork, that's a big thing. Going to the next level, being able to take snaps and drops and play actions and all type of things from under center and motions and handling that. We set the run plays to the different fronts and things of that nature. So I just feel like I'm very versatile and everything that I can do as a quarterback. So
Cool. So, I mean, like you said, a lot really, to go with there. I mean, a very versatile guy that can, run, these different, schemes, whether it be option spread or even some of that wing T
yeah.
stuff. So, but hey, I know you've had a lot of great memories over your collegiate experience, whether it be at Coastal or there at Mercer. Talk to me specifically about maybe one of your best highlights, one of your best games, most favorite games or moments. What's one of those things that's going to stick in your brain like for years to come?
I hope you might probably give you one from both schools, just like previous examples. But at Coastal, I would definitely have to say it was my junior year, that COVID year there. Even though I went through some things that allowed me not to be the starter and get as much play time as I would want, it came a time where we were going on 5-0. I think I made us 5-0. That was our championship year, first championship, conference championship year there, coast and at the Sun Belt level. And I wasn't playing very much, and then something happened to our number one guy, Grayson McCall. So then I ended up being pulled up into the starter role in a very important week versus Georgia Southern. And there's a lot of questions being asked. Is he going to be able to keep us on the streak and all kinds of things of that nature. But God willing, I was able to go out there and play a pretty solid game and keep us 5-0 and end up getting player of the game and things of that nature. So it was a great moment for me to keep our team undefeated and obviously help us continue that historic season that we had there that very first year with that championship. And then moving on to Mercer, I would just have to say, even though really was a gruesome loss, our last game here versus Sanford, um, I got a call the very night before the game at the team dinner that my grandma had passed, and yeah, that was very tough to. I didn't know how I was gonna go out there and do it the next day. You know, that was a game that we really needed in order to solidify ourselves a FCS playoff spot for the first time in school history. And to get that call before then, I didn't know how I was gonna go out there and perform, and if I was even gonna be able to do it. But I went out there and had another record-breaking performance. Ended up with like 500 yards, something passing or something like that, and we were right there all the way down to the wire. And to have that type of success in a game like that from my grandma, that's something that would stick with me forever, no matter the outcome. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously both instances, very unique. I mean, you get a guy coming off the bench, people are questioning this guy, and what is he going to do? Is he going to lose this for us? And again, able to go out there and deliver. And then of course, being kind of put in a spot where like a lot of emotions are very high for that particular game. Very important game for you guys. Again, very solid performance overall. I mean, just this much short, but I mean, still able to go out there and deliver. Under that sort of environment with that sort of stress. So yeah, I mean, you came up short, but the fact that you were able to deliver as much as you did, I mean, kudos to you. Kudos to really your entire team, man. I mean, really Mercer has become one of these teams to that you got to look out for, man. I mean, you upset some people there in the Southern Conference, so I mean, you can't just look past these guys. So, but hey, man, you finished pretty strong there with your career. And recently, you had the opportunity to participate in the FCS Bowl. And after that bowl, you were named MVP. Talk about your experience at the FCS Bowl real quick.
Great experience, great opportunity. So thankful and blessed for that opportunity. Something like I've never been a part of, going from a bigger school, which, kind of got big as you were there and you watched it progress, and coming to a slightly smaller school and things of that nature. You don't get to be in front of those scouts all the time and things of that nature. So just being out there in front of those scouts with a bunch of guys who are hungry and ready to work, it was a very fun environment and atmosphere, very competitive. And that's one of the things I love. My father instilled that in me, being competitive. And so it was a great environment. I enjoyed my time. A lot of talented guys out there to be surrounded by as well. And there's 4 quarterbacks on the roster, so we had to split our time equally. So you had to take advantage of your opportunity. And God willing, I was able to do that, especially on game day when we went out there. They didn't tell me till right before the game that I would actually be the quarterback that was starting. That didn't happen all practice. We had 2 days of practice before that, and just the way that things kind of shaped out, I didn't get to start off things every time, or sometimes I was sitting waiting 20 minutes to get my shot to go out there and things of that nature. But come game day, I got the information that I was starting right before they called us out there, announced our numbers and things like that. So I was very hyped, very excited to go out there and be able to start it off and showcase. I remember the receiver coach from that team comes to me and say, "Hey, now you're starting it, so you got to go set the example." And I was like, "Hey, y'all call it. We're gonna go do it." And went down there first drive, and I think about maybe 5-6 plays total, just boom, 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 right down the field. Ended up throwing the touchdown, and I'm starting the game off crazy, and then ended it up with an offensive MVP. So that was very nice.
It's awesome, man. Well, what's next for you, man? What's happening now? I mean, are you training somewhere? Like, are you with anybody who's kind of helping you along? What's your situation these days?
Right. My situation is kind of unique. I'm still figuring out exactly where I'm gonna train. I have a lot of places and opportunities to take a look at right now. I'm just still training here at my school, with my guys, with my strength coaches, in the weight room, and then with my guys out there on the field throwing and running routes, things of that nature. But what's immediately next for me will be that FBS Tropical Bowl. Luckily, the top, they said 25, but I think they're end up going to take 30 from the FCS National Bowl. We'll be invited to the FBS Tropical Bowl down in Orlando, January 21st. So that's my next stop, another bowl game, get in front of some more people, try to showcase my abilities and talents, and then, amidst that time, try to lock in exactly where I'm going to be training and things of that nature.
Gotcha. So one other thing that I do want to get to is I want to give you one opportunity, just kind of tell me something that's not football related about you, dude. What are some things about you that are maybe some things that are important in life, your hobbies, your passions, or anything else about you that you feel like somebody needs to know something about this Fred Payton guy. So anything that's interesting that you find it would be unique about yourself that you want to share.
It's very funny that you asked that because all year throughout this year, and it kind of started towards the end of the season last year when we were up for the conference championship and getting ready to play in that conference championship game, and had a couple of interviews and things of that nature just leading up to that game, and people asking kind of the same question, and it kind of blew up and took off in a positive way for sure, but not in the way that I kind of wanted it to. As a side hobby right now, especially since I came to Mercer, being a lower level school, we don't really get a stipend, so to speak. So you got to find ways to make that money for yourself. I'm a part-time barber. I cut hair. I cut hair in my side time, and definitely got into that. I got into it while I was at Coastal over quarantine break over the COVID time that we had to spend at home. I ended up cutting hair and getting into that hobby as a side hobby, and then went back and was doing that at the coast. And then when I came here, I cut almost everybody on the team's hair, at least half of them for sure.
That's crazy. Make a little bit of side hustle. You got to have a little something going on. I mean, make like 10, $15 here or there ain't a bad deal. So, but hey, that sounds like fun. Brad, we need to wrap things up here because we've been at it for a while, but want to give you one last opportunity to talk. I mean, I know that there were a lot of scouts at the FCS Bowl going to be there, also at the Tropical Bowl looking at you. I want you to talk to all those people out there, tell them, why they need to take a chance on you and what type of player they'd be getting if they brought you in and made you part of their franchise. So hit them with your pitch.
Yes, sir. The reason why you should have me as a quarterback that can lead your franchise is because, I'm a natural born leader. I'm still working on being one of those very, very vocal guys. And I think I took tremendous steps towards that this past season. And you can ask my coaches and things that I took the time to try to become better in that aspect. But I'm just a guy that's very humble but confident in himself. And I attribute that to all the things that I've been through throughout my career. No matter how good or bad, I always take the positives from a situation and the negatives from a situation and try to turn them into a positive. And, no matter what, I'm always going to keep working hard and try to make that infectious throughout our team that, it takes hard work to end up where you want to be. And, I think I brought that to Mercer and, that translated dividends the last 2 seasons. We've been able to do many historic things that's never been done here before. And wish I had more time to continue that legacy to see where it really could have went. But, everything comes to an end at some point. One chapter is closed and on to the next one. But as a player, you're going to get somebody who can do it all at the quarterback position, whether it be throwing it down the field, layering all over the field, reading defenses, reading D-lines, everything of that nature. I could play any style of offense and make things work for not only myself, but for the team.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a quality athlete that shows some grit. And like you said, I mean, able to learn a lot of different offenses and execute very well. And so, Fred, wish you best of luck in this process. I mean, it is a bit of a crazy process with like, where am I going to be training at? What's going to happen here, there, whatever. So it is a little bit of a whirlwind, but do wish you the very best of luck in everything that you got going on in life. All right.
I appreciate it so very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Once again, I got with me Fred Payton. He's a quarterback at a Mercer. Definitely check him out.